The Chicago White Sox are definitely sellers. How far will they go?
Well, I think you got to start with guys like Lucas Giolito, Lance Lynn, guys who don't have much time left on those contracts and much time of club control. Every contender is looking for bullpen help. And then if I'm Rick Hahn, you'd have to blow me away with a deal for me to move Dylan Cease. And then I think the other guy people talk about is Tim Anderson, who has not played like Tim Anderson for the whole season, but since the All-Star break has an OPS of almost 900. So I would say you let TA build that value back up in the second half. And then if you still wanted to move him, you move him in the offseason as opposed to right now.
Let me ask you this. So Eric and I had a conversation about Tim Anderson moving, and I said I think it would be a good idea to move him. He said his value's too high, like
too low.
Too low. Sorry, he said his value's too low. Sorry, but what do you think on that situation? I think any team would take him in a heartbeat. No,
I think there is something to that side of like a change of scenery, right? Like just a guy who's been really not like himself. And if you put him in a situation where if he's in LA with the Dodgers or somewhere like that, where now you're around other superstars, you're around Mookie Betts, you're around Freddie Freeman, right? You're around JD Martinez, these guys who've won before, and you're in that environment, maybe that helps you raise your level of production to where teams have seen you. If I'm a team like the Dodgers, sure, who doesn't want to buy low on Tim Anderson right now? Because I feel with a couple different tweaks, being in an environment of winning, you're going to get the best version of that player. So I can understand that. I just think from the White Sox perspective, a guy like a Tim Anderson, when he is producing, he's so valuable in terms of trade. I just don't know if you want to sell low with the fact that you really don't have that many assets that you'll be able to get decent prospect capital back for in return.
All right, you said Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn's value is lower or higher than TA's value right now?
I think it's higher in terms of you look at where he is contractually, where he could be a rental. He could opt out at the end of this year. And I also think he's a guy that has that playoff experience. And if I'm a young team with a young rotation, having a guy like that in the room where young guys can bounce things off of him, like I think of him for a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks. You're about to be in a heated NL West race. Or if I'm the Baltimore Orioles, having a guy like that in the room where he's pitched in the AL East before against the Red Sox of the world, and he's pitched for the Yankees, he's pitched against the Toronto Blue Jays, I think that's really valuable to teams like that who are younger staffs.
I set the over-under on the White Sox, 3.5 players traded. What are you taking?
All right, 3.5. So the three we named, Giolito, Lynn, Graveman, and that would put us at one more.
Somebody packaged up?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Give him the answer.
I just, like, because you see names thrown out there for the White Sox. Like, you see Yoan Moncada's name out there where for a guy that's been injured most of the 2023 season, I don't necessarily see that one, but could somebody take a flyer on a Joe Kelly, right? A guy who's pitched in the postseason, even though you look at the numbers, it's not what we've usually seen in the past from Joe Kelly. Could you pick him up for a team and say, all right, we don't need Joe Kelly of 2019, 2020, 2021, but if you could be a guy who could pitch in the 5th, 6th, 7th inning for us to bridge to our guys in the back end, I think that's something that could happen too.
That's an easy over for me.
All right.
By the White Sox.
All that to say yes. I didn't actually say an answer.
Yes isn't an over-under.
Yes.
So you're taking the over.
They have other
over.
bullpen arms, at least one other bullpen arm out of, I mean, half the guys I'm looking at least one of them will get dealt.
Kenyon Middleton.
Easy over. Yeah, Middleton. There are a lot of names
Middleton
on here. Even like if a team just needs depth, like a Tukey Toussaint, Joe Kelly, if they want to pay some money down. There's plenty of names on here, in my mind, that could get dealt.
Easy over.
Easy over. Book it. And Kratz already owes me one on a bet, so I might double or nothing. I don't know.
Okay.
What do you think? Are you over under?
Oh, I'm over on.
Over. Okay.
I couldn't set it at 4.5, so that's why I set it at 3.5. Too high.
Okay. Padres, in or out? Ken Rosenthal had his Fair Territory show released as usual on Mondays, and I think surprised some when he was pretty confident that this team is still going to buy. Now, Are they going to buy at the top of the market? Not necessarily, but do you believe that this Padres team, despite still being mediocre since the All-Star break, is going to say, you know what, screw it, let's add a couple more pieces and see what happens?
I mean, I don't think that that's unrealistic, right? When you look at a team like the Padres, it's a team, when I talk to people in the industry about the Padres, they're the wild card because nobody really knows what they are. Like, are they the team we've seen for the most of 2023, or the team that we thought was on paper a team that was probably going to compete for a World Series? And I think you're in this situation if you're AJ Preller and the Padres, where it's like, well, we went all in. We went out and we got Soto at the deadline last year. We got Josh Hader. We brought in Xander Bogaerts to play with Manny Machado and now Fernando Tatis Jr. You almost have to be committed to going for it. I personally, and I've said it for the last couple of weeks, I still think that they have a stretch of 20 games of really good baseball. But will that be enough with the teams that are there in fourth place in the NL West? You have 3 teams in front of you. Do you hope that you can play better than a young team like the Arizona Diamondbacks that haven't been in this position together before? Maybe. Do you feel like you have enough top-end talent to be better than the San Francisco Giants? Do you feel like you have enough starting pitching? So from what you said, Scott, like, I don't necessarily think they'll make the major move because they already have a lot of really talented top-end talent. But adding on the margins does make sense. And when you look what the Braves did this morning, right? Getting a guy like a Pierce Johnson. Teams that are really talented, you add on the margins because really good teams win those trades. They win on the margins, and those guys usually end up being productive in October.